Hello and welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. Tonight, as you have seen, we have a phenomenal lineup. And one of the individuals, I have to tell you, he's amazing. He lives in the valley, not too far from where I live, Coachella Valley. He is a father. He is a veteran. He's amazing. But I have to read to you a little bit about him from his bio because he has an extensive history and level of experience that I believe deserves a high level of respect. So, Jeff Gonzalez, yes, that's who we have on the show. He's running for California State Assembly, number 56. Okay. He was born in New Jersey, raised in Southern California. Yes, he is a Southern Californian, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That's important. That's important to the state of California to understand that. In 1994, at the age of 19, Jeff joined the U.S. Marine Corps. He gained upper level management experience, served in numerous counterintelligence posts, and was an active participant and operations manager supporting U.S. and coalition forces in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. As head of the Marine Corps Crisis Response Center, Jeff provided direct support to over 12,000, that is 12,000 deployed service members. That's a large level of responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff held top secret clearance and is the recipient of numerous medals, including the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal for thwarting attacks in a combat zone, on the Operation Iraqi Freedom Medal, and the Operation Enduring Freedom Medal. While raising a family and deploying to combat zones, Jeff pursued a degree in domestic security management with a minor in criminal justice and is currently pursuing a master's of science in organizational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a doer, he is a mover, he is a shaker, he is a father, he's a veteran, he's an everything, he's a go-getter. Jeff is amazing. Jeff was called to the ministry. Now this blows my mind because we want people who are engaged in the community, right? We have too many people who are disconnected. Jeff was called to the ministry as a volunteer at Saddleback Church and later as outreach pastor at Southwest Church. In 2017, Jeff began work with the Integrated Recovery Foundation, a nonprofit focusing on recovery programs for women veterans who suffer from military sexual trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. Jeff and his wife, Christine, have been married since 2004. I'm going to say it again. He's a family man and community member. He's been married since 2004, and they have 4 incredible children, RJ, Lexi, Zach, and Michael. Jeff Gonzalez, welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. Thank you for joining us tonight. We can't wait to hear about your run for California State Assembly.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's a pleasure to be on here. Thank you for inviting me. And
Absolutely.
By the way, all those things I couldn't have done without my wife being a superhero.
It's true. It's true. It's a partnership, right?
Absolutely. It's teamwork. That's what it takes. It takes a village to raise a kid and to fight in war. And my wife has been a superhero throughout this whole time.
Supporting you and your efforts. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's incredible. So now, how do you do it all? How have you managed this all? Your faith, I hear your wife, your faith sounds like it's a strong part of who you are. I mean, tell us a little bit about your background and then tell us what's driven you to run for California State Assembly, going into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, I never thought I would be in politics. Ever thought I'd be in politics. But as a Marine and as a pastor and as a dad, I said, all these things that are going on in California don't represent who I am and don't represent my family or the values of my community. And we don't have a representative that's fighting for us, that's truly fighting for us and remembering who we are. So why am I going into the belly of the beast? How do I make all this stuff happen? Really, it's Christine, who's just amazing.
Right.
Her and I know that it takes a lot, especially my oldest son, he's got cerebral palsy.
Right.
He's 25. And to have a special needs family, it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of teamwork. It takes a lot of working together. So when we have this plus politics plus master's degree plus kids and life, it
Right.
takes a lot of planning, and it takes a partner who's willing to be by your side through thick and thin. And that's who Christine is.
Right.
And as a pastor, I read these prayer requests of my community, and I would see these things that would just break my heart. And I'm saying, who's fighting for them?
Right.
Who's speaking up for them? I know I was praying for them, but as a Marine,
where's the action?
I can't take this anymore.
Where's the action? I mean, words, prayer, I mean, faith, everything. But yes, I think you're right. Where's the action? So that's that Marine, that fighter in you, that go-getter in you. That's what was your catalyst.
Absolutely. We say not only to be hearers of the word, to be doers of the word. And I want to be a doer. And
you are a doer.
Thank you. That's what this state needs, and that's what this country needs, are doers. People who are not in there for the popular reason or the flavor of the day, but people who are truly committed to making their community safe and great.
Right. And I when I say that, when I jumped in there and I said, you are a doer, I'm not saying that out of emptiness, but I can look at your background. I can go to your website. I can find information about what you've accomplished, and then see the fruit of your labor, right? It's action, tangible action. Your record shows. And that's important too, that I believe Californians want to see, because too many times, like you said, who's representing us in these slots up in, high paid slots, by the way, up in the assembly? What are they doing? They're self-serving. They aren't being a servant's heart and serving the people, and they're not taking the action and making the hard choices that the people deserve to have made, at the request, really. Because that's what I've been hearing as I traveled the state, is everybody wants things to happen and they don't see anything getting done. It's like churning butter, but butter never turns into butter, churning milk. So, what do you think is the next thing for you? I know the primary just happened. We're now in the general. Now are you about outreach? What are you working on in your campaign as far as communicating to the people on the ground?
Yeah. Sure. We have a lot of social media out there, but really, I'm a guy who likes to get in front of people. I like going face to face. I like being from house to house, from living room to living room. And that's one of the things I tell people all the time. Invite me into your living room. Invite me into your coffee area. I'd love for you to just get to know me. And know who I am, so that way you can know that I'm fighting for you as a servant leader. Don't just take my yes. Absolutely. Don't just take my word for it. Get to know me so you can see who you're trusting. And that's one of the biggest things.
So now your district, Assembly District number 56, for people who, I have people who listen all over the world, all over the United States, and all over California, a lot of them. But for those people who don't know, and actually even the people who live in your district may not even know what district you're in, which is crazy enough, please let us know what areas that 56 district serves.
Sure. So from a global perspective, people have heard of Palm Springs.
Right.
So, I like to say the Palm Springs area. But the reality is that the district is right next to Palm Springs.
Right.
So it starts north of Palm Springs and goes along the I-10. So you have Desert Hot Springs, Cathedral City, Bermuda Dunes, Thousand Palms. And one of the more famous areas is we have a festival out here called Coachella.
Right.
And
Coachella Valley. Coachella. Yes.
There you go. And we have a festival called Stagecoach out here. So two really big festivals. And that's within the city of Indio. Exactly. Yeah. That's within the city of Indio, and that's part of my district. Also the Salton Sea. Huge, and it's almost like a natural disaster taking place there.
It is.
And we go all the way to the border of Arizona and all the way down 2 hours to the border of California and Mexico. So to get from one side to the other, it's 2 hours, and to get from top to bottom, it's 2 hours. So if you will, it's a 6-hour triangle that you have to travel. It's huge.
It's a big
and
area.
It represents some of the hardest working people I've ever seen. A ton of agricultures out here, hospitality, medicine, teachers, law enforcement. I mean, you name it.
You have
These
every
are,
area,
just hardworking.
blue collar, white collar. I mean, you have it all. You really have it all. So,
Absolutely.
so that. I mean, you have a big job ahead of you. And for the people who are not aware, because I may have not mentioned this, you are running against Eduardo Garcia.
I am running against Eduardo Garcia. Absolutely.
He's a monster, gosh, up there, isn't he? Up in Sacramento?
Well, here's what I like to say about him. The NFIB, National Federation of Independent Businesses, rates every single legislator.
Oh, gosh. I can't even listen. I don't want to listen, but I will. Listen.
Well, you know, you get an A or an F, right? A 100 or a 0. Anything below a 15% is bad. I mean, you take a test in, high school and you get a 15%, you're grounded.
Right.
Right? So you get anything under a 50. Well, there are 2 people out of the California legislators that have gotten under a 50%. Let me rephrase that, under a 15%.
Right.
Eduardo Garcia being one of them. 85% of the time, he votes against small businesses in California.
And that's
this district
a large
here,
part of our segment of the population, especially in the Coachella Valley.
Yeah, you have, young people, mom and pops, grandpas who have, a photo shop or a small business. And when they have their representative voting against them 85% of the time, he's saying, I don't care about you. I don't care about your business or your dreams.
Or your family. I don't care about or your future.
Or your family. I don't care about your Christmas or your Hanukkah. I care about remaining in place because I'm going to vote against everything that you are for. Yeah. And that's just a sad state of affairs.
It is. But we can change that. We're working to change that. And one way we can change that is by supporting Jeff Gonzalez for California State Assembly for the 56th district. So
absolutely.
You talked about small business. You've talked about family. You've talked about your faith. Now, what do you see in terms of some of the legislation? I see this nonsense happening up there that even Democrats, the progressive left, were never going to convince them that straw legislation is a bad idea. They just have it in their crazy mind that straw legislation is just the next best fad for them. But most Democrats, even solid-sounding, maybe centrist individuals, independents and libertarians, and especially Republicans, see most of the legislation that's happening up there is bad. What will you do to work towards a good conversation to try to bridge the gap with the crazy loony left that's up there, and also to help support other conservatives who are fighting the good fight in Sacramento for Californians? What will you do? What action will you take when you get into office?
I got 3 points for you, Erin. Number one,
I like a 3-point plan.
Yeah, the illogical. I taught a group of high school seniors about some of the bills that have recently come out. And I didn't, these kids are either claiming Democrat, Republican, Independent, or
identity politics is killing us. So let's get back to the basics.
So I said, these are the bills. I want you to read them and tell me what you think of them. With 100% across the board, the one that say they're Democrat, Independent, all parties, all of them said, and by the way, they had just turned 18, which is why I was talking to them.
New voters.
Every single one of them, 100% of them said, well, this doesn't sound logical.
Yeah.
I said, well, let's move on to the next one. Well, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't feel safe.
Right.
Who's making these up? Every single one of them, doesn't matter what party they were initially claiming, all looked at a set of 10 bills, and all of them said, well, this isn't what I believe in.
Right.
This isn't who I am.
Right.
So that's the one thing, is turning the illogical to logical. That's the first point.
Right.
The way you do that is by listening to the people in your district. All you got to do is be around.
Right. That's the key point.
Be around. Go to the coffees. Go to the lunchroom. Go to their living room.
Right.
You just got to be around and listen, because that's who a leader is. A leader listens and takes those ideas and acts on them. So
Right.
that's number one. Number two, biggest thing, we are spending and asking for so much money from the taxpayers that we're forgetting how to truly utilize that money. Erin,
Right.
I'm not a rich person.
Right.
By no stretch of the imagination. My dad worked 3 jobs. You know, I started working when I was 11. So I know what a dollar means.
Right.
When I give my son $1 and I say, I want you to spend this on buying some vitamins, and he comes back with candy, he didn't listen.
Right.
Right? And that's what's happening here. We have people in Sacramento where we are giving our hard-earned dollars.
Right.
And we say, spend it on the roads. And what are they doing? Spending it on candy.
Right.
It's like a bunch of children that don't know how to listen and aren't listening to the people they're supposed to be working for.
Right.
So my second point is this. First, go out there and do, right? You got to be a
Right.
doer. Second point, you got to listen, because leaders listen. And number 3, what we can do is serve.
Right.
I have learned in the Marine Corps for over 20 years. I have learned as a pastor. I've learned as a dad.
Right.
The best way to lead a group of people is by being last, by being a servant to those people.
Servant.
What can
Yeah.
I change? How can I cross over? I'm not crossing over. I'm just being a servant. That's the biggest thing. Having conversations with people saying, you know what? I see where you're coming from, but let me tell you what I've found from listening to people who are in my district.
Right.
And they're talking about this. So maybe we could change a couple words to reflect our community that we're serving versus having a bill that's self-serving.
Right. Right. And I think you mentioned something that's really important, you know, that these people who are in Sacramento and even those who are in DC or in levels of power within government, they become detached. They become numb. They become, I like to say, it's a developmental process. They go in there, some of them halfway normal, and they come out some crazy monster. I mean, there's a metamorphosis that happens there. So, you know, I think the important part is that, you know, staying connected to the community. Do you have this vision that you will then become detached, or, you know, as I see you, that you'll remain, you know, as working within your community and become, you know, a servant in the capacity of doing what's best for the community, with the community, by and alongside the community. And what we see in Sacramento is they all of a sudden become in power, and then there they are.
Well,
way up there,
detached. Little secret, Erin. One of the things, and just for you and your viewers, I'll tell you this.
Yes.
You're on the inside track right now.
Woohoo!
And I'm going to share it with only
track.
you and your viewers. So you got to keep it a secret.
One
of the things that I'm doing is once I get elected, one of the key focuses that I'll have one of my staff members take on is outreach.
Good.
Pure and simple. That doesn't mean, hey, let's go do a flag ceremony. What it means is, where are the homeless? Where are the hungry? Where are the hopeless?
Where are veterans who haven't had service?
Where are veterans?
All of them.
Where are the business owners that are struggling with all the bureaucracy, the red tape? Where are those people? I want you to go find them, and I want you to tell me what they're saying, and how can we go serve them? Whether it's serving, you know, a meal, whether it's painting a fence, whether it's listening on a lunch break, whether it's going out into the field and getting my hands dirty and feeling the dirt within my hands and saying, you know what, this overtime bill that was passed is absolutely impacting the farmers, is also impacting the growers, also impacting all these people because we were there. Outreach will be one of my key positions that I'll look for.
Yeah, connectivity is important. Connectivity is important. Over and over and over again, I've heard that, you know, people just say, well, since my congressperson, since my assembly person, since who and so and such has been in office, I haven't seen them. The only time that I see them is the 1 year prior to their next campaign bid, and it's when actually I receive the most of their emails about please give me money. And I believe that that's true. Servitude, outreach, and connectivity, staying relevant and connected to the people, it's so important. And I just love that you already have a servant's heart, being a pastor, also being, a U.S. veteran. I mean, it's unbelievable just to see your drive, and also for your family. I mean, that's a huge commitment right there. And nothing has fallen by the wayside in all of this. You're just consistent and moving forward and taking action. And I believe one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show and talk to people is because I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing, and I know that people can have the confidence in you doing a good job once you're up there, once you're elected, and once you're in that space, and they will be able to reach out to you, because that's important. If you don't know what's going on, how do you help? So
that's exactly what I tell people all the time. We have a voice. We have to use the voice. One of the first ways we can use the voice is by voting and encouraging your family to vote, encouraging your community to vote. That's what leaders do.
Right.
We do it that way. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is on my card, I put my cell phone number. I only have one number.
Right.
I don't have, an extra cell phone. I don't have that. I want people to communicate directly to me.
Right.
So that way they can say, you know what, when I had an issue, he listened. He either did one of three things. He said yes, he said no, or he said not right now. Right? We got to wait because X, Y, and Z is happening.
Right.
Kind of like prayer, right? It's kind of like prayer.
Exactly.
Either yes and no or not right now. But I want people to be able to communicate. That's one of the biggest things.
Now, for those people just jumping on with us on the Erin Cruz Show, right now we have with us Jeff Gonzalez. He is running for the 56th district for California State Assembly. He's a brave man. He's a father. He's a veteran. He's served as a pastor. He's constantly working within his community at outreach and support. Jeff, can you please just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, tell them where they can go to find more and get involved and to contribute to your campaign?
Absolutely. My name is Jeff Gonzalez. I'm your candidate for the 56th district. I'm a dad. I'm a pastor. I'm a United States Marine. I want to go to Sacramento because we need to bring the Marines into Sacramento, yes. And we need a change right now. You can find out more about me by visiting my website at www.gonzalezforassembly.com. That's GONZALEZFOR assembly.com. Or you can check me out on Facebook or Twitter. On Facebook, facebook.com/GonzalezForAssembly, or on Twitter, Jeff Gonzalez.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. We are going to have you on at a later date. We want to hear more about what's going on and some of the issues that are happening as the election comes forward and through for November. We are not going to stop. We're going to work hard to help you get your voice out and get your message out to the people of Coachella Valley. Thank you again so much, Jeff, for being on the show, and God bless you.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com.